Hey everyone, and thank you for checking out the video. This is kind of an informal format, as you can see. I just wanted to talk about how I market some of my projects and my YouTube channel on Reddit. There's a lot of potential for using Reddit in a lot of different ways to promote whatever you're working on. So I wanted to give a few tips of things that I kind of think about, things I've done, and then I definitely show you some examples of my posts in the past that have done somewhat well. And then hopefully there's something you can learn from that, benefit from, and use that as a resource for your own marketing. Tip number one is pretty, I guess, common sense, but it's make sure you're putting a lot of effort into the post that you're making on Reddit. You know, don't treat it very trivially. Put as much effort into the post as you would into a feature in your own game, because everything that you add to your game kind of represents your effort, your presentation of your ideas. Same thing for the Reddit post. Everything that is out there on Reddit will be there for a long time until you delete it, you know, potentially forever. So the people that find that post long after you've posted are going to be drawn to your game and kind of see. So if you don't put a lot of effort into your post, then maybe there's this impression that you don't put a lot of effort into your game. So be willing to put in time and think about the things that you're saying, the comments that you're writing, the title, the presentation of the video itself. All those things are very important, just as important as what you're doing in the game itself. Second tip's maybe the most important. Maybe this should be the first one, but offer something for free and then ask for support. So make sure you're providing something of value to the community that you're asking them for their support, right? Give something, get something. Pretty easy to do with developing games, because if you've made something that you want to show off, which is the reason you're posting, you have a piece of your game, you think it's cool, you want to show it off, other people think it's cool too, they're going to want to know how you did it. They're going to want to know the code behind the scenes, you know, your thought process, and all of these things are really easy to give to them. You can post little snippets of the code, you know, you can share a shader. There's a lot that you can share. You can share the sprites of the game if you wanted to. And there's a little bit of fear, I think, that comes with this, where you think, oh, if I tell these people how I did it, or if I give these people my shader code, they're going to steal my ideas. That's really not going to happen. You know, they're not going to take it away from you. If they do, it probably won't go very well for them, hopefully. I don't know. This is just my own personal experience. I think people respond very positively to receiving something for free, and the positives far outweigh the possibility of any negatives. So make sure you're giving something for free before you ask for support, and people will be much more receptive to what you want. Tip number 3 is have somewhere other than Reddit to point people to if they're interested in your post. So the flow is that people will see your post kind of in their scrolling of Reddit. If they're interested, they'll probably just watch it, appreciate it, and then move on. If they're really interested, they might come into the comments to see what other people are saying. And if they're extremely interested, they'll actually follow your links kind of out to these external places. So don't get your hopes up about a lot of people following through, you know, the kind of conversion rate. But make sure that you have somewhere for the extremely interested people to go, whether it's a YouTube channel, Instagram, Twitter, website, email list, something like that. Somewhere for them to go, and you can kind of retain them outside of this Reddit post. And again, the conversion rate's not very high. Like for some of my posts that have had over 3,000 upvotes, I may only see a couple hundred people actually follow through and come into the YouTube channel to watch the video that I've posted. So you never know. Number 4 is find ways, and this can be kind of tricky, but it's really fun, but find ways to associate your game with communities outside of game development specifically. So I'll have a list in the description of kind of the subreddits that I would imagine most people are posting in, and these are usually gaming, game dev, indie dev, things like that, pixel art. But there's so many communities on Reddit, and there are ways for you to squeeze into those interests. You know, so for example, let's say your game has a really cool map. You can post on cartography or map making, and that's a way for you to connect with that community. And those people are going to get really excited about that. And they're not all going to be interested in your game, but you'll at least have this little piece out there, this little thing that will lead back to your game permanently there in that community that people will search for and find forever. So for an example of the way that I did that is I work on a lot of Python related things, Python art, Python tools, and I posted a time tracking tool that I made to the Python subreddit. And that's just an example of a way that, okay, I worked on this cool thing that isn't directly related to my game, but it gives me an in with this other community. I think that's really cool and important. Number 5 is to post a video if you can. I think they're a lot more powerful than screenshots. There's places to post screenshots. You know, Twitter has the whole screenshot Saturday thing, I think. And you can do that. You know, you can make sure you're doing things like that. But the videos, in my personal experience, people have resonated with a lot more. And it gives you a chance to show off your game in more clarity, I think. Because let's say somebody clicks on a photo that you posted of your game. They may look at it for 5 seconds. But if you can retain their attention for 5 seconds, then you can give them a lot more of a taste of what your game is going to be like with a 5-second video. So if they watch the video, they'll see it. They'll hear some sounds. They'll see some interactions of different systems. They'll see the colors. They'll see more of just the single screenshot if the character's moving around the map. So definitely make sure that you have the ability to post a video. And I think that it almost has an added benefit of like letting you hone your game as you think of like, oh, I don't have anything to share, so I need to work on my game until I have something to share. The next tip can be kind of tough, but be prepared for harsh feedback. Be prepared for feedback from people that don't like your game. Be prepared for feedback where people say, hey, this reminds me of this thing. This thing's actually a lot better than your thing. You know, why are you making this if this already exists? There's a lot of feedback that is not very useful, but my advice would be find a way to let it be useful. And what I mean by that is everyone giving feedback has very little context to this game. They only have the context that they give you, and even within that, they only have the context that they allow themselves to understand. But even if they fully, absorb everything that you've given them, all of your marketing, they still don't have the context that you have for your game. They don't have the plans that you've made, all the sketches that you've done, all the constant, that constant thought process as we're honing our games in our own minds, and we have this vision of what it can be, what it could be like, what it could feel like to play. They don't have any of that. So their expectations start bouncing all over the place, and they don't understand where you're coming from. So just be prepared for that, and take that as useful feedback by remembering that no one will have that context. So when your game is on Steam or itch and people are seeing it for the first time on a store page, those viewers, those potential buyers, they will also not have that context. So understand what these first impressions are like for people who don't know your game. Be prepared for it. Kind of steel yourself up, and just realize that it's all part of the process. It's fun to get feedback. And I don't mean to cast kind of a bad light on it, because a lot of the feedback is going to be really good and really exciting. People are going to like it. And that's the best part, is when you start getting some of that validation, like, okay, people are liking this idea. People are kind of seeing where my work is going, and it's motivating. It's extremely motivating. So that's important too. The last tip is something that's very important to me, and it is don't apologize for your ideas. Don't apologize for your game. Don't apologize for you being excited about it. Don't apologize for the work that you put into it. Just don't apologize for it. This ties back into the feedback a little bit. There will be people that kind of don't appreciate the work that you're doing, and that's with any discipline. It's mostly just people not having appreciation for other people that want to create things. Most people are set up to consume. Some people are set up to create. And when you create, it's very challenging for people who don't create. And it's tough. It's tough when they kind of, belittle you or whatever. They don't appreciate your ideas. So just don't apologize for it. Focus on creating. Focus on being a part of a community that does create. And just enjoy the process. I don't know. There's nothing greater than being able to make whatever it is that we want. You can spend your time however you want. You can create whatever you want. And regardless of what that is or what it leads to, it deserves applause. So take confidence in that. Don't apologize for your ideas. And if people don't like it, take that feedback as useful feedback. But never feel like you're inherently doing anything wrong by creating something new. That's all I've got. I don't know. There's probably a few more tips out there, but remember, I've got some posts down in the description. Posts that I've made on Reddit on different game dev subreddits that have done pretty well. Obviously, these are not posts that have resulted in anything extreme for me. They haven't They haven't launched any kind of career or anything, but these are minor successes that I feel like are building towards longer term success, and that's really all I have to share with you. So yeah, feel free to go through that list and kind of look at how I approach things, some of the things I posted, and the reactions that other people gave, and think about how that can apply to your own game, your own marketing effort. And yeah, so I hope that goes well for you. Thank you for watching this video. If you learned something new or just enjoyed watching, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, and maybe I'll do more videos in the future where I hold this really heavy mic. We'll see, but thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.